You're abandoning your family, Rebecca. My mom's voice roared through the phone, slicing through the quiet of my office. I pinched the bridge of my nose, feeling the weight of exhaustion settle over me. Mom, I've explained this 100 times. I can't keep bailing Brian out. He's 30 years old. He has to take responsibility for himself. She fired back, her tone sharp, laced with guilt. As always, he's your brother. Family is supposed to help each other. I glanced at the pile of work on my desk, the hours I'd put in to maintain my own stability. I've helped him, Mom, for years. This isn't about family, it's about the fact that he doesn't care. He spent all his savings on things he can't afford and now expects me to fix it, again. My name is Rebecca. For as long as I can remember, I've been the responsible one in the family. When my dad passed away when I was 10, I had to grow up fast, taking on more than any child should have to. Meanwhile, Brian, my brother, always managed to slide by without facing any real consequences. Now, at 30, he was still working part-time at a convenience store and spending his money on gadgets, nights out, and vacations that he had no business taking. When his landlord threatened to evict him, my mom didn't ask. She demanded that I cover his rent. I refused. That decision sent both my mom and Brian spiraling. 2 days later, I woke up to a notification on my phone. My heart dropped when I saw a long post from my mom on Facebook. Family should stick together, but sadly, not everyone believes that. Some people would rather abandon their own blood than lift a finger to help. It's a shame when greed comes before family values. I'm truly disappointed. I felt the sting of her words, but it was the comments that really stung. People I hadn't spoken to in years chimed in, criticizing me for being selfish. And then there was Brian's post. I never thought my own sister would leave me out in the cold, but I guess money means more to her than family. At least I know who really has my back. Thanks, Mom. The words hit me hard. They were painting me as the villain, twisting everything to make me look like I was the one who didn't care. I put my phone down and stared out the window, my chest tight with anger. How many years had I sacrificed for them? How many times had I picked up the pieces for Brian? And this was how they repaid me, by publicly shaming me for setting boundaries? The anger was sharp, but deeper down, a cold clarity settled in. If they wanted to make this a public spectacle, I was ready to fight back. I sat down at my kitchen table that evening, my laptop open, and I replayed everything in my head. How many times had I stepped in to help Brian? More times than I cared to remember. When he lost his job 2 years ago for not showing up, I covered his bills until he found another one. When his car broke down, I gave him money to fix it, only to later find out he used it to buy concert tickets. And when he borrowed money to get back on his feet, it went straight to online shopping for designer sneakers. But the worst part wasn't even Brian's irresponsibility, it was my mom's unwavering defense of him. Boys are different, she would say whenever I brought it up. He just needs time to figure things out. That time had turned into years of excuses, years of enabling him. And now, after all that, she was making excuses again, only this time, she was actively vilifying me. I opened my email, intending to reply to a work inquiry, but the words blurred in front of me. The knot in my stomach was too tight to focus on anything else. Enough was enough. Later that evening, I called a lawyer. My voice shook with frustration as I explained the situation, the posts, the public humiliation, and the damage to my reputation. I can't just let them get away with this, I told the lawyer, barely keeping my anger in check. He listened carefully before responding. Defamation cases can be tricky, but if their posts have caused you harm, emotionally or professionally, you do have grounds to act. Let's start gathering evidence. After hanging up, I felt a small sense of relief, knowing I had someone on my side for the first time. But as I gathered the screenshots of the posts, another thought crossed my mind. My dad had left an inheritance for both Brian and me, one that was supposed to be protected until we turned 25. I hadn't thought about it in years, assuming my portion was safely stored away in an account. Curiosity gnawed at me, and I called the lawyer back the next day. While we're at it, can you look into my inheritance? I just want to make sure everything's in order. Of course, the lawyer replied. What I didn't know was that this simple request would unravel an even bigger betrayal. A week later, I received an email with the subject line, Inheritance Investigation Findings. My hands went cold as I opened the email and read through the summary. My lawyer had discovered that for the past 5 years, Brian had been withdrawing money from what should have been my inheritance. The account had been under my mom's control until I turned 25, but somehow, Brian had gained access to it after that, and he had been regularly dipping into it. Thousands of dollars, gone. Money I had no idea I had, used for who knows what. When I called my lawyer for more details, his voice was calm but serious. It appears your brother accessed the account without your permission, he explained. This is a clear case of theft. He's taken a significant portion of what was rightfully yours. I leaned back in my chair, trying to process his words. How could this happen? My mom was in charge of the account for years. She never said anything about Brian having access. It's possible she didn't know, the lawyer said, but it's also possible she trusted him to manage it responsibly. Either way, this is a serious breach. The implications hit me like a ton of bricks. Not only had Brian been stealing from me, but my mom, whether she knew it or not, had let it happen. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the financial records my lawyer had sent me. Each transaction felt like a slap in the face: concert tickets, electronics, vacations, things I had struggled to afford for myself, while Brian was using my money to fund his lifestyle. The Facebook posts now felt like the least of my problems. This wasn't just about public humiliation anymore. This was about betrayal, deep within my own family. I wasn't going to be their doormat anymore. Enough was enough. Brian, of course, had a different approach. Later that day, I logged into Facebook, and the flood of posts aimed at me hit me like a slap in the face. First, she refuses to help her own brother. Now she's threatening to sue her family over money. Greedy, selfish, and heartless. Some people really show their true colors when it comes to cash. I stared at the screen, my jaw tightening. The comments were filled with the same people from before, chiming in with their thoughts. She sounds awful. Family should come first, no matter what. Brian, you're better off without her. I didn't let it get to me. I took a screenshot and sent it straight to my lawyer without hesitation. The next day, I met with him again. We're filing both cases, he said, his voice steady. The defamation case is straightforward. As for the inheritance, we have more than enough evidence to prove theft, but you need to be prepared. This could really strain your relationship with your mom. I leaned forward, my face hardening. It's already beyond repair. Let's move forward. He nodded, then added, one more thing. If this goes to court, Brian will have to explain where the money went. Are you ready for that? It could get ugly. For a moment, I hesitated. Did I want to know how deep this betrayal ran? But then I thought about the years I'd sacrificed for them, the constant enabling. This wasn't just about money, it was about respect, about standing up for myself for once. I'm ready, I said firmly. Later that evening, I got a call from my mom. I braced myself before answering. Rebecca, she said, her voice shaking. I talked to Brian. He told me some things about the money. I didn't know it was this bad. I was quiet, waiting for her to continue. What did he tell you? I asked, my tone sharper than I intended. There was a long pause before she spoke again, her voice quieter now. I'm sorry, I didn't realize how much he'd taken. I should have stopped him. Her words felt empty, like they didn't carry the weight they should have, but I let her continue. I'm going to talk to him again. We'll figure this out, just please don't take this to court. I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath, the frustration threatening to spill over. It's out of my hands now. Mom, you should have thought about this years ago. When I hung up, I felt a strange mix of anger and relief. My mom was finally seeing the truth, but it was far too late for apologies. The damage had already been done. A week later, my lawyer called with a new update that left me reeling. We've been reviewing additional financial records, he said, his tone calm but serious, and it turns out Brian hasn't just been dipping into your inheritance, he's also been misusing some of your mom's accounts. I froze. What do you mean? It looks like he's been accessing funds from an account your mom set aside for her retirement, he explained. We found withdrawals that matched the same pattern as the ones he made from your inheritance. I sat back, completely stunned. My mom had been so blind to Brian's faults, so eager to defend him, and now, he'd stolen from her, too. Does she know? I asked, my voice shaky. Not yet, he replied, but if we go forward with both cases, this will come to light. I hung up, my thoughts spinning. As much as I resented my mom for enabling Brian, the thought of her losing her retirement savings made me sick to my stomach. Later that evening, I called her. I had to tell her. Mom, I said, my voice steady. I need to tell you something, and it's not going to be easy to hear. What is it? She asked, sounding exhausted. I took a deep breath and explained everything the lawyer had uncovered, the withdrawals from her retirement account, the same pattern Brian had followed with my inheritance. There was a long silence on the other end. He took my money, she whispered, her voice trembling. Yes, Mom, I said softly, I didn't want to tell you, but you need to know. Brian's been stealing from both of us. Her voice cracked as she responded, a mixture of disbelief and devastation. I can't believe this. I trusted him with everything. You shouldn't have, I said gently. I know you love him, but you've been enabling him for years. This is what happens when there are no consequences. I heard her start to cry, and for the first time, I felt a twinge of sympathy for her. As much as she'd hurt me, she was also a victim of Brian's manipulation. What do we do now? She asked, her voice breaking. We let the legal process play out, I said firmly. This isn't just about the money anymore, it's about accountability. The next few days were filled with tension. My lawyer filed both cases, and I could feel the weight of what was coming. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I also knew I couldn't back down now, not after everything. For years, I had let my mom and Brian take advantage of my kindness, but this time, I was standing my ground. It was time for them to face the consequences of their actions, no matter how much it hurt.